right, hello everyone. Welcome to the show. Another episode of Tennessee WildCast, the weekly podcast for the Tennessee Wildlife Resources Agency. Of course, you can listen to us, and some of you probably are.
Yep.
Or you can watch Jason. You can go out and watch it.
You can watch us.
You can watch us, yeah.
If they're on TWRA TV or YouTube, we're all over the place.
Hey, this show's all about you. It's all about our resources, which we know that you enjoy. And that's why you would be watching or listening to us. And we're going to keep bringing these programs to you so you can learn more about your state of Tennessee and the outdoors opportunities. And speaking of that, how old's your boy?
Tucker is 4 years old.
4 years old. So Tucker is still at least 5 years, and we'll find out for sure, away from taking something called hunter education.
Right.
And you do plan for him to take hunter education.
He will take hunter education. He's got his lifetime license right now, and we're going to get in the woods this year anyway, though.
Was that because of Grandma and Grandpa, or was that because
of not even Poppy pitched in on that one.
Did they? That's a great gift for him to have. Well, anyway, Tucker's a few years away from that, but he'll be taking it one day. And listen, hunter education is our subject today. We're going to talk about it, and we
got the expert with us today.
We do. And if you never go hunting, or if you don't think your son or daughter will ever go hunting, you still should consider hunter education, because everyone should know how to handle a firearm and know about safety so that they don't grow up being scared of a firearm, because there's nothing to be scared of.
Nope, they're good things.
They are. All right, let's widen out and introduce Randy Husky.
Yeah.
Randy Husky is our guest today. A lot of folks have seen this face through the years doing a lot of different stuff. Randy has probably been in front of more people than he'll ever know already, and he's got a long way to go. But Randy is the statewide hunting education administrator for the Tennessee Wildlife Resources Agency, and he also served recently, or maybe you still are, as president.
I'm serving as immediate past president right now
of the National Hunter Education.
International Hunter Education Association.
IHEA.
Yes.
Wow, I bet that paid you big bucks.
Oh, absolutely. Zero.
I know. I understand. But that's still a great honor, Randy, for somebody to
it was.
In a position like
it was,
that.
and
Awesome.
It was a great experience as well.
All right, Randy, you are head of the hunter education program across the state, and you've served. I'm not sure where you started. Where did you start with the agency, and how did you work up to this position?
I started out as a wildlife officer in Monroe County, and I worked there for about 15 years as an officer. Then I moved to Nashville and became the statewide turkey and trapping fur bear coordinator.
Okay. For
a couple of years, and then the hunter education position was open, and I was lucky enough to get that.
And here you are. All right, and you work. This is a little bit of internal stuff, but you work out of the law enforcement division for TWRA. Is that correct?
Yes, that's correct. Mm-hmm.
All right. And you also do a lot of training for the agency. You work with Ken Reedy and train a lot of the new officers coming in, and the veteran officers too, I assume, right?
Yes, absolutely.
Okay. All right. Well, the subject today is hunter education, Jason, and I'm here to tell you that there will be somebody that goes out when this deer season starts, and they will fall from a tree stand, even though people like Randy have been telling them for decades, long before Randy, to do all the safety precautions, to wear those harnesses when you're to do everything properly, but somebody will ignore it. They'll fall out of the tree stand. If it doesn't kill them, it'll paralyze them.
Yeah, every year we have that, Doug. It's a common occurrence. And in all those instances, the person just does not wear a full body harness, follow rest system.
That's all it takes. It's so easy and it's so inexpensive, right?
That's all it takes. And in the few cases that somebody does have the full body harness on, they don't hook up from the time they leave the ground to the time they get back.
Yeah.
There's a period of ascending and descending the tree where they unhook that tree stand from the lifeline or something that would just take a few extra seconds to do.
It doesn't. You may think that you're 5 feet up in the air and it's not very far, but when you're falling, say you're just 200 pounds and you fall and that 200 pounds hits the ground 5 feet up, you can do massive damage.
Yeah, that causes a lot of damage to the body when you fall from any height. Especially, you know as well as I do, when you fall, you have no control of how you're going to land or where you're going to land.
That's right. That's right. And I have talked to guys in the past. The ones that will talk to you the first a lot of times are the ones that they knew better. They're not 15 or 20 or 25. They're 50-year-old men.
Yes.
Nothing's ever happened to them. They decide to get a little lazy. They go up there, and the tree limb snaps they've been sitting on or climbing up on all these years, and they fall to the ground. They bust themselves up bad and embarrasses them, but they're the ones that will come out and tell you, I didn't do it right.
Right. They will. And some of our absolute best instructors have been victims of tree stand accidents. They didn't wear their harness or they were using a homemade tree stand or something not safe. And that's another precaution people should take is not to use those homemade tree stands. They can be dangerous over time. The nails or screws can work out of the wood. The wood becomes rotted. It's just not
don't
safe.
do it. And
No.
you could buy a tree stand for $99
Yeah,
a harness too, or something like that. So,
exactly.
yeah, come on, guys. So do it right, and we're going to get into a lot of stuff like that. And we're also going to work with Randy on telling you how to get your child into a hunter education course in Tennessee, because this is the time of year, Randy, where they're offered year round, but right now is when they're offered a lot year round.
Yes. Yeah, this is our busy time, as we like to call it, during hunter education, right before turkey season, right before hunting season. We're offering a lot of classes right now. September, October, there'll be a lot of classes available.
Are they offered? Tennessee has 95 counties. Will there be hunter education in all 95 counties?
Yes, every county will have a class at some time during the year, and most of them will have multiple classes.
And the other thing is, if you're sitting on a county line somewhere and there's not a class being offered in your county, can you go across that line and take that course?
Absolutely. Yeah, and that's kind of the way we designed our system. Of course, it's an online registration system now for the students. And you simply type in your zip code, and it'll tell you the closest class to your zip code.
Well, let's go ahead. Go ahead, Jason. Let's
Yeah,
go
we'll
ahead
pull that up.
and show that to everyone. This is how easy it is to get your child in hunter education. And two things real quick before we go through it, Randy. Does hunter education cost anything?
No, it's absolutely free.
Okay. Now, there is something called an online course that we'll talk about in a minute.
Yes.
But if you're talking about going to a physical, traditional class, it doesn't cost you anything.
Our traditional 11-hour course, which is a classroom course taught by volunteer instructors, of course, it's absolutely free. There's no cost.
Okay. And the other thing, your son or daughter, grandson, granddaughter, next door neighbor, whatever you go with, can you go with them as an older adult?
Yeah, it's actually encouraged. You know, the instance may come up where you have an opportunity to go out and hunt another state, and some other states
True.
require hunter education regardless of age.
There, boy, do we still get those calls? The guy that's going out west of one of
Yeah.
the states, you got to been, if you were born after 1949, which most people are now, or getting
Yeah.
that way,
Yeah.
you have to head hunter education.
Exactly, and a lot of times they don't realize that until maybe the week before they're leaving, and there's not a lot.
me in there,
There's,
yeah.
there's not a lot we can do at that point.
And I think even now too, you can correct me. Is it Fort Campbell or Land Between Lakes? One of them now requires you also to have mandatory hunter education.
yeah, all military. If you're hunting military property,
Fort Campbell,
yeah, it's absolutely required. It don't matter how
Don't
old
matter
you
what
are.
your age is.
Exactly.
All right, but otherwise, for the other time where it's what is the mandatory date in Tennessee, just for your kids that are coming up? Where does it start?
As far as age,
As far as age and what year?
Okay.
What's the year going back?
well,
how far?
we will certify a student when they turn 9 years of age.
Okay.
They have to have it when they
9
turn
years.
10. yeah.
Jason, all right.
Yeah, got that. 9 years.
They have to have it when they turn 10. And anyone born after January 1st, 1969 has to have it.
And that's getting on up there now.
Yeah,
so,
That's right there on our website too.
Yeah.
You can't miss it.
Yeah, it's right there.
all right, that's well into the
Good.
40s years old now, right?
Yeah, that's,
Golly. That's
my
good.
age.
Yeah, all right. We won't tell them that.
We're 21.
Yeah, that's right.
All right, let's walk them through. This is tnwildlife.org. tnwildlife.org.
Yes.
Our website. If you can't find it lightweight, just put Tennessee Wildlife in your search box and you'll find it. And once you get there, what'd you pull down for hunters?
Yeah, for hunters. Hunter education is under for hunters. You can see that at the top of the page there. Click on hunter education. Scroll down a few blocks here. All the necessary information is there, and then you got find a class near you. That block, you just click that, and it takes you to the location to search for a class in your area.
Okay, scroll that up a little bit.
Sure.
And then it tells you when the class is, what time, how many days. And Randy, I heard you say 11 hours mandatory. So we're looking
Yes.
at least 2 days of classes. A lot of them are taught on weekends, or if not, they're caught, like a Tuesday, Wednesday, Tuesday,
Yeah,
Wednesday?
a lot of them, Doug, will go Monday, Tuesday. A lot of them will skip Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and finish up on a Saturday morning, typically.
Okay. All right, let's show them that next step then, too.
Okay, so if we select this one, Mount Carmel Baptist Church, Signal Mountain, it'll take you to the spot where you got all the details about it.
Yeah, it'll show you the meeting dates. It'll explain all that. It actually tell you how many seats are remaining. That way you know.
I love that. That's
Yeah.
great.
It'll let you know if there's room available in the class.
Did you
which
do that,
is
Randy? Did you
absolutely
add that?
That's actually been we've had that on our system for a while now.
Okay, scroll it on up a little bit. All right, so click right here to register. Right there. It's this easy.
Bottom right hand corner.
And fill it out.
And then you fill out your form.
Yep, just fill out your information, and just review it and
Review it.
confirm it,
And you're there.
and you're there.
So you don't have to call the agency anymore.
You don't have to call the agency, and actually you'll get an email sent to you confirming your registration, and you can actually confirm that again to absolutely say you're coming for
Do you-
absolute sure.
Do you like to know if they're not coming. This
Yes.
thing can fill up, and if you
Yes.
take a spot and don't go, you're taking it from somebody
You
else.
are, and that happens a lot. But with this new system, they actually get sent like a couple days prior to class. They'll get another email sent to them reminding them that class is coming up the next day or two.
Okay, and you don't get in trouble if you back out of it.
No,
They'll offer
no,
more,
not
and
at all.
just take it. But just let somebody that needs to take it,
Yes.
take it, and so they can. And then, all right, after they take the traditional inside course, and I want to talk to you some more about these stats you got, but also what goes on in the course. But after they take that course, are there still field days they have to go to?
No, are you talking about the online course?
Yeah, no,
Okay.
no. Let me back up. The traditional course, are there still a shooting day, not a field day? They still have to go shoot.
Yeah, then that's typically done on that last day, on that Saturday morning.
Mhm.
They'll go do a live fire exercise, which is sometimes pellet guns, sometimes 22 rifles, sometimes shotguns. And it's not to see how accurate you can fire a firearm. That's not what it's about. It's to see how safely you handle the firearm.
See if
That's
you
all we're
listened
looking
in class,
for.
right?
Exactly, and that's what it's about.
And there's a test at the end of the course too, right?
There is. There's a 100-question multiple choice test, and most people pass that.
Okay, and what are they issued once they pass?
They get a certificate of graduation from our program of completion of the course, and they get a card, a little wallet card, that everybody's encouraged to laminate as soon as they get it.
Because it might fall apart.
It is
You'll
not
be calling us.
washerproof whatsoever.
And you'll be calling us and saying, what do I do to have to get another one?
Yeah.
And since we're there, and since somebody's probably been through that, what do you have to do if you lose your?
Well, you can call the regional office and request a duplicate card. I think it's $7 to get a duplicate card.
Okay. All right. Easy as that, but I'm with Randy. Laminate that thing. And,
Yeah.
And that way
Exactly.
it might last you for a long time.
Yeah.
All right, Randy, let's go ahead and talk about the non-traditional class, the
Okay.
online class. What is that? And that does cost a few bucks.
It does. It does. The online courses were developed, of course, by outside vendors. Private companies develop these courses, and there's a lot of upkeep, and they keep updating these classes all the time. So there is a cost to that. The courses they're heavily involved from the perspective of the vendor.
Mhm.
They track that student. If there's any questions or anything, there's 24/7 support. That's just something that we couldn't offer as an agency if we could develop this course. But they have 24/7 support, and they'll track you from the beginning to the end if you have any questions or problems. And each chapter, of course, you have to take a test to progress. So chapter 1, you take
So
a
you're
test.
not going to think you're going to get away
No,
with
you,
a
you
thing.
can't
something.
just click through it. I mean, it's a timed course. You have to stay on each page for a certain set of time.
Yeah.
At the end of that chapter, you take a test, and you progress to the next chapter, and so forth. I mean, it's really a controlled course, and it lasts about 8 hours of online study. Once you get done, you'll get a certificate of completion of that course. And again, most of them you pay at the end. When you complete the course, that's when you would actually pay, and it's typically around $25.
Okay.
And that's something we have no control over. That's an outside vendor.
And I'm glad we have that. And that was created because no matter how many courses we offer, there's always somebody that says,
There is.
my son and my daughter just don't have time to go to that because they play baseball, football, name it,
Mhm.
on and on and on and on.
Exactly.
So that's an opportunity for them to take it there. I still believe, as nice as I think this is, and I like that it's created, there's nothing that will ever be sitting in a room with Randy Husky or Ken Reedy or Faye Hickerson or these other people across the state have been teaching, and all these
Yes.
wonderful volunteers.
Yeah.
Will never be sitting in there with them and letting them do hands-on with you.
It doesn't. And I kind of like to think of it like going to Walmart. You can buy the brand A, which is the best, or you can buy brand B, which is cheaper, but it'll still get you what you want, but it's just a little cheaper product. Not saying that that's cheap, but
I understand.
It's not the best product out there. The best product again is the
people.
traditional course.
Yeah, and
face to face.
And you
Face to
couldn't do
face.
this thing without volunteers. This is a volunteer-driven. A lot of wildlife officers, of course, they do a great job across the state, but it's also volunteer-driven. Many volunteers teach thousands of students every year.
Absolutely, yeah. We certify about 16 to 18,000 students a year. We have
Wow.
1,200 volunteer instructors that run this.
1,200?
1,200 volunteer instructors
more
in
than I thought.
Tennessee.
Wow.
Yeah, and that's the backbone of the program. I mean, these guys are highly dedicated. They essentially dedicate their life to this cause. Most of them will teach 3, 4, 5, 6 classes a year. Some of them will teach 12 to 15 classes a year. These guys are unbelievably dedicated.
All right, two things. Why it's still in my head. Once you take the online course, there is a field day for that.
Yes,
correct?
absolutely. You take the online course again, which is a pay course. After that, you get that certificate of completion.
Mm-hmm.
You take that certificate of completion and you find you a field day online. You go to online, you find you a field day, which is about a 3 to 4 hour course. You go, you get a review, you take your test, and you take the live fire portion of the course, and then you're certified.
Once again, to let you know that you took that course. So,
Mhm.
and before it's all over, it's still going to be about 11 hours time you do everything.
Yeah. By the time you do everything,
Give or
it will
take.
be.
All right,
Mhm.
and the other thing is, while we're talking about volunteers, if somebody wants to become a hunter education coordinator for TWRA, what do they do?
They need to contact the regional office, and of course, there's an application for that. We'll send you an application. You'll fill it out, send it in. Of course, we do a background check on all our instructors, and then talk to the county wildlife officer and make sure that that person is not a wildlife violator.
Yeah, teach them the right thing.
Exactly.
All right, and then do you have training for them somewhere every year?
Yeah, they do. We have several hunter education, we like to call them academies, hunter education instructor academies. They're 3 day long. They're pretty intense. They're a Friday, Saturday, Sunday deal. You come in on a Friday evening.
Still taught at Henry Horton, is that, or is that,
no?
Am I getting that mixed up?
We move them around. We do
Okay.
them in East Tennessee. We do them in Crossville. We do them in at Bell Buckle. We'll do them in Jackson. We move them around. We want to. We do
Hit
about
everybody.
Yeah. We want to hit everybody. That's why we move them around. It makes it a little easier on the instructor. We don't want to have to make them travel so far. But
Okay.
and it's pretty intense. But I feel like as a program administrator, it needs to be pretty in depth. They need to know the policies and procedures, and they need to know what to teach in class.
All right. It's serious stuff and needs
It
to
is.
be. All right, let's talk about what you've got in the paper in front of you, the statistics on there. And it might surprise you, it's some of what Randy's got there, something you've compilated here, I think you said in the last year or so.
Yes.
And start where you want to. I mean, we've talked about the falling from the tree stand, and we might want to hit on that a little bit more, but what are you finding out?
That's a biggie in tree stand incidents. Is the victims typically just not wearing the full body harness.
Mhm.
And that's the big thing. If we can get everyone to wear that full body harness, and again, stay away from the single straps and the shoulder straps. Those things will absolutely hurt you or even kill you. Get a good full body harness, and people will say, "Oh, they're $100." Well, box of ammunition may cost $100 these days.
I mean, all these years, I have, between life jackets and safety harnesses,
Yeah.
you feel like a broken record, but you break the record because you mean what you're saying. And if you wear that life jacket, your chance of living is
Exactly.
just so much greater. And this
Yeah.
harness, too. Remember a few years ago, Randy, and you'll probably remember it well, and it was all here in Middle Tennessee. There were 2 or 3 young men, barely in their 20s, fell out of tree stands, and right now somewhere they're in a wheelchair.
Yeah.
And this just it's a serious business. I mean, you don't want to have a day where you're going out there to have a good time to hunt a deer, end up with the rest of your life in a wheelchair.
Yeah, we've got to the point in Tennessee. This is kind of amazing, Doug. We've got to the point in Tennessee where our volunteer instructors have done such a good job teaching firearm safety that we'll have years that we don't have any firearm-related fatalities in hunting. And that's amazing. But we always have those tree stand fatalities.
Can't get rid of them. It's just
They're going up. That trend's going up. There's more and more of them every year, and firearm injuries are going down. It's amazing.
I remember even back in the day, a guy named Norman Bates worked for us, and him talking about how few accidents at the time were what a lot of people think of, the 150-yard shots somebody gets shot. Those are rare.
That's rare.
It's these tree stand accidents that are frequent and will mess you up.
Mm-hmm.
Go ahead, Randy. What else you got?
Another thing to remember when you're using a tree stand, of course, is to use that haul line as well. Don't climb that tree with equipment on your back, or definitely don't climb that tree with a rifle slung over your back. And that's been the cause of several accidents in Tennessee and even some fatalities.
Okay, you don't want that firearm falling to the ground and discharging.
You don't, absolutely not. Use that haul line to haul up all your equipment with, and that's the big things with tree stand safety is the full body harness and the haul line, and hooking up that harness from the time you leave to the time you get back down to the ground.
All right. What about this orange that most people wear, but sometimes there's a few folks out there that just don't want to wear that 500 inches of orange? What about
volunteer orange?
Volunteer orange. You said that.
Yeah. Well, let's talk about blaze orange.
Blaze orange. There you go. All right.
And you do see that. You see some people wearing orange that's not really blaze orange.
Yeah.
So to be sure and get the blaze orange vest and the blaze orange hat, especially. UT hat is not
wearing
blaze
a hat's
orange.
not enough. You'll get a ticket if you just decide
Yeah.
to wear that hat.
You've got to have the vest and the hat. It's got to
Okay.
be on the upper body and the head. 500 square inches, of course, of blaze orange.
Okay. And you said, before we started, you're saying that folks that aren't wearing them are showing up in your stats somehow.
Yeah, they are. It's pretty amazing. We're coming up on deer season, of course, and pretty interesting statistic. I've been looking at all the deer hunting incidents, and half of them are the direct result of people not wearing a blaze orange vest or hat.
Half of them.
Half of our deer hunting related, firearm related injuries in Tennessee are the direct result of people not wearing blaze orange.
Then that might tell me something else too. It might also tell me that somebody's shooting at movement and not at seeing their game.
Exactly.
Okay.
And that's a biggie. Victim mistaken for game and careless handling of firearms are the two main causes in Tennessee of hunting incidents.
And what does the stats show you? How many fatalities have we had in recent years, Randy? Whether it be tree stand or somebody being shot or shooting themselves because they didn't handle their firearm properly.
Well, in the last 6 years, we've only had 5 fatalities in Tennessee, which is great.
Shooting fatality?
Shooting fatality. Firearm-related fatalities in Tennessee, we've only had 5. One of those was a careless handling incident, fatality, and the other 4 were victim mistaken for game.
Okay.
And one of those I think was during turkey season. The other 3 were during deer season, and none of those had orange on.
All right. I remember one of them here in Middle Tennessee. I think it happened over in Lawrence or Lewis County or whatever,
Yeah.
and it was mistaken game.
Yep.
And so all this stuff that you're telling us, though, it's hammered in. If you're having any hesitation about sending your students to one of all this is hammered in during that course.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah, we talk about, of course, we got the 10 Commandments of firearm safety that we hammer throughout the whole course. And the first one is to watch that muzzle.
Mm-hmm.
And if everybody would just watch that muzzle, these careless handling incidents would totally disappear.
And when you say watch the muzzle, you mean point it up, point it down, or what's the best way to
point it
a
in a
muzzle?
safe direction.
It's safe,
You
away
must-
from people.
Away from people, and you must determine what that safe direction
That
is.
can change no matter where you're at.
That can
That
change
safe
where you're
direction
at.
Changes.
Exactly.
Okay. What else do you teach like that? What the safety on a firearm important, but not.
Yeah, you don't rely on that exactly. You keep it on at all times and keep your finger outside that trigger guard, but you don't rely on that safety because it's a mechanical device, and of course, as we all know, mechanical devices can fail or break.
And if it fails and your muzzle is pointed in a safe direction,
You're going to be fine.
everything is good.
Yeah,
All
if you accidentally fire that firearm, but your muzzle's pointed in that safe direction, you're going to be fine. That's why that first commandment of firearm safety is so critical and so important. And everybody watch that muzzle, control that muzzle, safe direction at all
And
times.
you may not think you've done it. I always consider myself pretty safe with firearm, but I remember at least a time or two in my life where I discharged it, had it pointed in a safe
Yeah.
direction. But it
Yeah.
happens more than you think,
It
even
does.
with experienced people.
Absolutely, experienced people. I mean, that's where the majority of our accidents are happening. It's not young kids. It's the 40s and 50-year-olds that's been hunting all their life.
It just but they're overconfident, maybe.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Maybe
All right.
just get a little careless for a second. That's all it takes.
All right. What else are you showing there, and things that you might want to talk about
Well,
what takes place
we've got dove hunting season coming up real soon.
very soon?
Yeah. So
Yeah.
let's talk a little bit about what type of accidents we're seeing during dove season.
Okay.
The majority of our dove hunting accidents, over 75%, are the result of a victim being in a line of fire, and that's all stemming from people shooting at low birds on fields.
Okay.
So that's
Don't do it.
don't do it.
There is no bird out there worth shooting
no
at low like that
No.
with people all hunting around you. So that's where the majority of it comes from
Yes.
on a dove field.
on a dove field. So if people could just not shoot that low bird, and again, that's watching the muzzle. You're pointing it at somebody. So control that muzzle. Don't be tempted to take that shot at that low bird.
It's just a dove.
It's just a dove.
All right. And anything else as far as, and while we're on dove, let's because it is coming up in a few weeks, Randy. Let's talk about not just the safety, but what you have to have on the field. But what else is there? Anything else for safety as far as dove that you want to discuss?
Well, of course, be aware of your surroundings. Be aware of who all's around you.
Mhm.
Know the position of the other hunters in the fields.
That's a great tip.
That's critical. And again, guys, don't shoot at that low bird. Make sure you're firing up in the air.
Okay. And while we're on it, Randy, people they forget this time of year. that a dove it's a migratory bird. So
Yeah.
when you go out there, tell them about plug-in shotguns.
You've got to have that plug in
stuff.
your shotgun. That thing can't be capable of holding more than 3 rounds. You've got to have it plugged and make sure that plug's in there.
And that's on migratory birds.
Migratory birds. Yeah.
So okay, remember
and dove
that
is a
when
migratory bird.
And also, when you can hunt doves depending on what field you're on. But if you go out with doves, you can use lead shot in this case, right?
Yes.
With dove,
Yeah,
okay.
absolutely.
And if you get on one of those few areas that require steel shot, keep that in mind.
Mhm.
I don't know how many of we got across the state. And since we're there too, just want to remind everyone that the agency will be putting up all its fields on our website, tnwildlife.org. All the fields that we're going to be that are either public that we manage or that our teams have been managing all year, and then we'll
Right.
put lease fields out there too. And those lease fields may not even be posted till a day or two before the season begins, but there'll be a lot of fields out there.
Yeah, just come back to the website and watch for the updates.
tnwildlife.org.
And I'm
Okay,
sure
Randy.
we'll throw it out on Facebook and Twitter as well.
We will. We'll put it out on our social media. It'll be there. All right, Randy, what else you got?
I got something else I'd like to talk about. When I was compiling these stats, something else popped out at me. Everybody thinks about a hunting incident as you going out hunting and somebody shooting you that you don't know, somebody just out of the wild, somebody snuck on your property and shot you. That's typically not the case.
Okay.
If we look at the incidents in Tennessee, most of them you're either shot by your hunting partner or it's self-inflicted. That's the vast majority of our incidents in Tennessee.
So your partner's walking alongside you, doesn't have his muzzle pointed in a safe direction, trips on something or whatever, crossing a fence. Whatever, and shoots you.
Exactly. Or some people get the great idea to try to drive deer toward each other, or even drive turkeys toward each other, and for whatever reason they may take off their orange vest or something, and their partner shoots them coming through the brush back toward them. That's happened on several occasions.
Oh, me.
They
I
get
can't
so
even imagine
excited.
that.
Yeah.
Golly, no thank you.
That typically don't work, but
Yeah. All right, and the other is self-inflicted. And how do most people self-inflict, shoot themselves?
Most of them are a result of loading and unloading. They'll rest that firearm on their foot or on their leg or whatever when they're unloading their firearm, and things go wrong from there.
Do you see that with crossing fences and things like that too?
You do.
Crossing creeks.
Crossing fences, or actually, guys, also leaning that firearm up against a truck or a tree, and the thing will fall over.
You just got to be so careful. I think one of the oddest sort of self-inflicted fatalities that I ever remember having to talk about was a duck hunter here in Middle Tennessee.
Yeah,
and he
I
had
remember
left
that
a
one.
shotgun in his boat.
Yeah.
And his Labrador retriever stepped on the trigger.
Yeah.
And killed him right there where he was hunting. So things like that you just got to keep in mind. You don't know what's going to happen. Put that safety back on and
Yeah.
put that gun in a safe spot.
Yeah. Or if you're going to be away from it, unload it. It takes a second.
It
Just
doesn't take
unload
any
it.
time.
Yeah.
It doesn't take any time at all.
Exactly.
All right, Randy, what else are your stats telling us and what time? How much we got left there, Jason?
Oh, we got about 3 minutes.
Okay. All right.
A little less.
You got something else in there that you'd like to tell them before we have to get out of here?
Well, let's again, just looking at our incidents across the state, the big three again are accidents occurring during deer hunting season, dove hunting season, and turkey season. So that's when we see the majority of our injuries. Of course, that's when most people hunt, of course, as well. I mean, there's more deer hunters and turkey hunters than any other thing probably, but that's where we're seeing the majority of our incidents. So when you're out there, be extra vigilant, be extra careful. And just take all the necessary precautions. And wire that orange, guys.
It doesn't take any time at all. And
No.
if somebody wants to come on, they want to come on to our website and find some of this information, are there some stats or some other information about hunter education out there on our website for them to look at?
They can request it. I can send them any information they want to. They can also go to the International Hunter Education Association website. There's a lot of information on that website exactly. That will have a lot of detailed information.
And I'm glad you said that, Randy, because you just, as you said, you're in the past president role there. But what is that group and what's its intentions? What's its goals?
The IHEA, of course, they represent all 50 states. It's an association that represents all 50 states in their hunter education program. That association also offers insurance for instructors. It represents 55,000 instructors throughout the United States. It's just a great organization, a great association to champion the cause of hunter education.
And they have their own website. So
Have their own website, yes.
All right, Randy, great job. And wear that orange, as Randy said, and just be smart.
Wear that harness.
Yeah,
Wear that harness.
Absolutely.
And Randy, right now, again, this is when you need to get in that hunter education. Don't wait till last minute.
Go ahead and enroll now and get signed up in the class to ensure your spot right now.
All right. Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
And Randy, we'll be on Facebook this week, or maybe this week, with a WildCast Extra that you've done.
Yeah.
All right.
You'll
Anything
be
else?
on there. That's on Facebook and Twitter, and you can watch and listen to this show at tnwildcast.com. So
We're all over
check
the
us out.
place. Your show, everybody. Tell your friends about us and come back. Our show's always out there, but we'll see you with a new show
Every
next
week. Yeah.
Yeah.